Like I had gotten to a place, I was fine for a very long time with not even really exploring my beliefs at all. Mm-hmm. And then for a long time, it was what I didn't believe. And then I just got to a point where every time that was the conversation, it just felt kind of shallow and disconnected. And I walked away and I would think, that's not really what I feel. Like, I feel like there is so much in me that I believe, and yet I don't really know how to articulate it because I didn't have a lot of resources, that I was really connecting with. And so when I saw all that you guys were doing in Mimesis, I was like, oh yes, this is what I need, because you were addressing everything from the Bible to how we view God to so many concepts that I was questioning, and yet I didn't have a space to process it, so that's why, I've been able to stick with it. And I'm so proud, because it has been such a wonderful journey.
Immediately, if I think one of the things that obviously was very significant for me in the course was this concept of desire and the formation of self. And I think it was challenging at first, because I was confronted with, what do I really desire? And the big question that stirred me was obviously, does my desires come from myself or does myself, this person that I am, or my personality, or the self that I am, is it formed by my desires? And that was quite significant for me, obviously, to first realize that my desires are not my own. They are mediated towards me. And that was such a big shock. At first, I wanted to deny it. I felt like, how can that actually be? Because I feel so original, because it's mine. It's my desires. I have dreamt them up. So it's my originality. And then when you realize that we are sort of reflective and desires are mediated by a gaze of someone else, also gave me a bit of understanding how we work. It obviously sort of made me doubt of, who is this person, this self that I'm so accustomed to. And I think that was a good thing of figuring out who I am, how my personality is formed, who is this self that I'm so aware of, that I entertain myself, and that I think I am me. And so I think that was a very interesting, and still an interesting theme for me. And I'm still asking myself this question, probably daily. What do I desire? And where does these desires come from?
Perhaps the idea of a journey has been really important to me. I seem to have viewed my relationship to God as something that was more static than developing. And the idea that I am changing and becoming something was really pivotal for me. I also found it interesting that perhaps he was changing too. I don't know if you want to go there, Marianne. So that there's a journey that occurs, and that the scripture is possibly more of a record of God's journey with humanity, rather than a record of how things went wrong and how they needed to be fixed. So the idea that you could see history as something that was an ongoing development between God and humanity, I really liked that. The other thing that was important to me was the concept of mimesis, and understanding and learning about Girard, who worked in the 1950s. So when he worked, it was a theory. It was something that he came up with based on literature, based on his understandings of people. And so it really was a theory. But the amazing thing to me was that science since then has confirmed that theory, that we as human beings really do draw our identity and our desires from other people and other situations. Even from characters in a book, we can find our desires in that sort of situation. And now mimesis has become a standard part of psychology, of anthropology, of it even permeates into the considerations of physicists and quantum theory. And it's just amazing to me that it is so all pervasive and then you can see it in scripture. Who would have thought?
God using chaos to create has been really powerful to me, because in my mind, even before I was in the church world, you distance yourself from chaos, right? And you don't want to get intimate with it. And that's kind of, whether you're in the church or not, that's just kind of something that I think we do. We distance ourselves from it for many reasons. One, because we don't understand it. Two, because maybe sometimes it seems dark, or, there's many reasons. But then when I think about the incarnation, and I think, how God, came into human flesh, to me, that speaks volumes about how he's not actually uncomfortable with chaos and how he actually uses it. And so that means, one, I can be comfortable with my chaos. Like, I don't have to escape, because I have escaped for so much of my life, because I didn't feel comfortable with my chaos. And so I definitely didn't feel like God was comfortable with my chaos. And my religion for a long time was, how much chaos can I get rid of? Like, how many negative things can I get rid of? Because the more that I get rid of, the closer he's going to want to be to me. So this whole thing has been my journey of realizing, like, he wants to be with me in every moment, in every moment. And that has been just incredibly healthy for me.
Yes.
Personally, but also in my relationships, because we're all raised in different ways, and we're in quite naturally, we have bias, just not even because we really want to necessarily. It's just kind of what happens. And so I have found that I'm way more comfortable with other people's chaos. And it's no longer this barrier. It's still a journey for me. I'm not saying I've arrived. Sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, but I see myself, like, if I look at my friendships, like, I have a wide variety of friends now, of all different people that I don't think I would have really welcomed intimately into my life. And now it feels so good to be able to learn from different perspectives and different people. And it feels like love, right? It feels like real, tangible love. Like, I'm not requiring you to be anything. Like, I just am really enjoying being with you. But I think it's because I'm, like, really enjoying being with myself and being with God, a God that isn't uncomfortable with the things that go on inside of me.
That is so beautiful. So beautiful, because I know as well, for me, it was such a a transforming thought to think that this, whatever chaos I see and experience, firstly in myself, things that I just can't reconcile, or instead of running to realize that this is the God who uses this, it's like his raw material to create, to invite us to say, hey, actually, this is something we can do together. This is something we can create together. And that beautiful picture of, the beginning where God hovers over the chaos and this welter and this waste, hovering in a silent contemplation, ready to just draw out the meaning and possibility that's there. It's just mind-blowing, because it removes that whole, control and fear that permeates so much of our religious lives, and opens us up to a God who really is a God of possibility.